Meowdy fellow gamers, how we feeling tonight? What's up? We here to party. We here to party farty.
It's games. It's video games.
Holy
I was
shit!
games once. Hey, I'm not on screen though. It seems that Metroid Fusion is on screen twice.
Lamau. Discord goofing me up again. There you are.
It's okay. Everybody loves to see Metroid Fusion, so I'm sure that some people were like, "No, wait. Double me down. I want the double."
Is the game frozen on stream or is that just an OBS?
It just froze when you did that,
What
seemingly.
the hell? What the hell?
Oh, now it updated. Yeah, there we go. It's going. It's all gravy.
Okay. That was bizarre. This is kind of a cutscene.
Henwell Mayday from space. First in chat.
This pixel art looks so much more detailed on my tiny Game Boy screen. It's blown up on
I
my
wish we
monitor
had-
like this. It's kind of bad.
I wonder if it's possible to set up like a bot or something that would have like a voice that as soon as somebody leaves the first chat of the night, that it would go like first in chat in like the Halo voice, you know?
There's so many goofy things you can set up with streaming software. I'm sure it's doable.
The Halo voice guy can voice anything. I think he has a cameo, so we could easily just get him to
It's true.
say whatever thing.
First.
First in chat.
I'd been assigned to watch over Biologics research team, so I once again found
my
myself at the
story.
surface of SR-388.
I can't believe it. Samus is like saying stuff.
What the fart? I think this is the first game where she says words.
I think we discovered that there's like a one line or something that's in first person in Super Metroid's intro, maybe? Or there just was tech and I had
narration.
forgotten that. or
That's
something.
right. That's right. I'm forgetting.
Yeah,
I've
it was,
just
like,
skipped
very
it so many
brief.
times.
This game has like a lot more.
It was
It very
there
much
that I
is
was
like you're
attacked.
in Samus's head. Like it's her perspective on events in a way that you never really gotten like directly like that.
Yeah. It was only later that I learned the identity of my attacker, the parasitic organism we now know as X. Unaware of my condition, I was returning to the station when disaster struck.
I love the colors of this game.
Once the X had infested my central nervous system, I lost consciousness and my ship drifted into an asteroid belt.
Uh-oh.
Womp womp.
It goes
fucking-
black and white for a second.
The
there.
red sparkling eyes made that look like one of those old shitposty memes from 2016. My god. The ship's emergency systems automatically ejected the escape pod before impact. Biologics vessel recovered it and transported me to Galactic Federation HQ. However, during the journey, the
Oh
X
no, she's
multiplied
covered in
within me.
honey.
It's funny that these fucking Game Boy games that can only have like 6 words on screen at a time, corrupting large areas of my power suit. It then came to light that the organic components of my The organic components of my power suit had become so integrated with my system that it could not be removed while I was unconscious. Large portions of my suit had to be surgically removed. Is the suit like a part of her? That's disgusting. Dramatically altering my physical appearance. However, the X in my central nervous system were too embedded to be removed safely. I was given a minimal chance of survival. Then someone found a cure. They proposed using a Metroid cell to make an anti-X vaccine. It seems that the Federation had managed to preserve a cell culture from the last infant Metroid from SR-388. The serum was prepared and injected without delay. The X parasites were immediately and completely destroyed. I just had to pause for dramatic effect. They were
This is like a
absolutely
whole fucking novel about what
completely
happened
destroyed
leading up to the cave.
with fire! As for me, one life ended, yet I survived reborn. as something different. It's nasty. Pondering this fact, I realize I owe the Metroid hatchling my life twice over. Is this the computer talking?
You'll soon be arriving at the BSL research station. I must prepare for docking. Oh, docking.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh la la. The ship's computer has notified me of our approach to the Biologic Space Labs, or BSL, research station. During my surgery, the research team sent the last batch of creatures we captured there, as well as the infected pieces of my power suit. After regaining consciousness, I learned that an unexplained explosion rocked the station. For some reason, this awoke a nameless fear in my heart, and now I am being sent there to investigate. My mission on the BSL station will be overseen by my new ship's computer. Following the commands of this blunt, computerized CO is something I have to bear, as it was a condition of my taking the ship. For someone who dislikes taking orders, this is the second time I found myself having to do so. It makes me recall my other CO. Commanding officer.
Yeah. So did she imply that the
Beat
computer is literally her commanding officer? Like it's not even like it's not like it's an assistant or something. It's like in charge of her.
Yep.
She's following orders from a fucking AI.
I'll give you this
What a
car, but on the
dystopian-
condition that you have to do whatever ChatGPT tells you to do.
Oh god. Stop letting the clankers win.
Oh, good lord. I don't think we have to read all of the computer text, because most of it is just quest giving.
Yeah.
And if we read all of this game will take like 6 years to finish.
Well, and the thing is that the environmental storytelling is more, like, gives you more than this. Like, this will tell you, they're like, there was an explosion in the cargo bay, and I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I am. Like, I don't know what that means. And then you go there, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the cargo bay. Here's the explosion. Like, it's visibly there, you know, like.
Yeah.
The game didn't when it describes things to you through the text, it doesn't really mean much until you actually see it. And like I feel like there are people complaining about Metroid games like not having enough of a sense of direction, and so they added a sense of direction into the game, and I'm like, that is I didn't need that though.
Yeah.
Personally, wasn't complaining about it.
Well, yeah, you have to consider that there was kind of a long gap between games, and that the Metroid Fusion came out in a different era from Super Metroid. So naturally, they were convinced like gaming had changed so much by then. They're like the things that were acceptable back then are not acceptable now, and people will just if they make the next game like Super Metroid, new players will just be like, "What the fuck, this sucks." I don't think they're entirely wrong for the time 2002. I don't think that's incorrect, but I'm glad that the pendulum swung the other way, and that everyone is comfortable now with just admitting, like, yeah, it's okay to make games hard sometimes. They do not have to explain everything about everything.
Well, this game is hard, but it's just like harder in a combat sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you play hard, or like, well, I guess it's just normal mode is hard. Like, whereas there's an easy mode that is what I played, you know, growing up. Because as a kid, I just took it for granted I couldn't play a game if it's at all hard. I always picked easy mode. I felt like a real grown-up when I started picking normal difficulty. But yeah, like, to me, the appeal of Metroid does have a lot to do with the lost feeling. And, like, thinking back on it, like, as a kid, I'm pretty sure I didn't process any of this text. Like, I would just dissociate, especially because it's the weird way that the text, you know, appears on the screen. Like, it's hard to keep the whole sentence in your brain and, like, really process what they're saying to you. And it's so much, and, again, it doesn't mean anything to me until I've already seen it. And then, like, going back, it's like, oh, they're talking about, you know, that thing that I know is going to happen. But it's not interesting to read this text, like, as you're going through the game. It just feels like something to blow through.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I I did read the text and tried to internalize it all, but every time I've come back to this game, you know, it's like I'm not fucking reading all that. Like fuck that. This makes the game so much slower. It's so boring. So much of it is just explaining to you how the game works. Samus, you need to go and blow up these 6 industrial fans. Like, okay, I've played the game before. I can just do that without reading the text now. Because I mean, there's a little like blinky thing on the map telling you go here. That's all I need to know, really. I just need the little objective marker, and I can figure the rest out on my own. I mean, this game does kind of like let you off the leash eventually. There are points where the computer stops telling you where to go, and you have to figure shit out. And I think that's probably the worst part of the game, because this one does not do a good job of signaling where you go next compared to the other games. Like, I feel like this one's a bit more obtuse when it does take the leash off, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, and also there's just so many of these right at the start. Like, you just took like 3 steps, and there's another one.
Yep. It's the tutorial.
And you can see that there's a 3rd one right up there, up that elevator, so you know it's coming soon.
Oh, the data room.
In fact, you're going right to it, so yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, I just gotta go up there. I gotta download missiles, and then I'll step into the other navigation room, and he'll tell me where to go next.
So, considering how much we're like laying it on this game for this, these tropes in like 2002.
Reminds me of a gruff Federation CO I served under named Adam Malkovich. He called me lady on missions. From anyone else it would have sounded sarcastic, but Adam made it sound dignified. Out of respect and with some irony, I named the computer after him. Any objections, lady? You can't see it, B, but I just gave a thumbs down to the webcam.
I see.
I would always give a thumbs down. That's the worst part of it.
That. Yeah, now I'm seeing it in my mind's eye.
Fucking cutscene. We're never playing other M on stream. That is actual torture. I will tell myself. I'm not doing that.
Please no. Petra Corlai said this is like the most feeling GBA game ever. I'm inclined to agree. I mean, I definitely heavily associate the GBA with this game because
it's a classic.
It's probably the 2nd one I remember like having.
Same.
After Golden Sun.
Second one I remember having after Pokemon Fire Red.
I had a GBA before that came out. So I got mine in like GBA came out in 2001. I got mine in August 2002 for my birthday, and by then I had been like tremendously hyped for it because I read Nintendo Power every month. And you know, Golden Sun was like I think just the best rated game that had come out on the system so far. So I got that with it, and it just so happened like my family, we were living with my aunt in Florida when I got my GBA, but we moved like a week or 2 later, and we were moving back to Virginia, which the drive from Florida to Virginia, it's like a 14-hour drive, right? Like you or I could do that in a day, no problem. My family, on the way down, you know, we'd stayed in one hotel for a night and like made it like a 2-day trip. But on the way up, for some reason, we kept having problems with our U-Haul, that it just kept breaking down over and over again. And it took a whole week for us to get from Florida to Virginia. And in that time, I was just playing Golden Sun like the whole time, because it's like 50 hours, or it took me like 50 hours at least at the time.
I've had road trips like that where I'm just gaming the whole time in the backseat.
No. There was nothing to fucking do, you know. We kept staying in hotels and just like everyone's stuck there. Everyone's frustrated, you know, like nobody's trying to have a conversation about something. They're just trying to resolve what's going on with the shit. And like we kept ending up in hotels that like U-Haul was like my dad would basically convince someone through a lot of yelling at people on the phone to get us like a free hotel room or something, and like eventually he was reimbursed like some amount because it was just like a tremendously expensive, and we didn't have money to do it, you know, so it was like just a fucking a hellish trip for my parents, I'm sure, but for me it was mostly Golden Sun.
That
Which is funny
reminds
because on the way down there, it had been Anime Invasion magazine, like the
Oh.
first magazine I really like combed over and like read every piece of text because it's just all I was doing on the trip.
It reminds me of when I went on a road trip with my dad and my grandparents, and we went to South Dakota to see Mount
Oh my
Rushmore.
goodness.
And Mount Rushmore fucking
That's not
blows.
as far away from Illinois as
Yeah.
because like to me, I've never been to Mount Rushmore. And my imagination of South Dakota has always been like it's as far away from anything else as it could be, except that Chicago and like you're from like southern Illinois, so like
Yeah.
you would have
like,
been probably what like it's like a 8-hour drive maybe.
It felt longer than that. It felt longer because my grandparents wouldn't shut the fuck up, and my dad was getting
Oh,
really
no.
sick of their asses, and it was really funny. I had my 3DS with me. I would have been like high school at this point. I was just playing like Zelda 1 on my 3DS for most of the drive. But I don't know. It was just funny because
I can't imagine me as a kid ever having the patience to get more than 5 minutes into Zelda 1. That is a hard fucking game.
it was really fucking hard. I was struggling. I didn't have like internet connection or anything, so I couldn't Google stuff when I got stuck. So that dungeon with all the whiz robes, that was horrible. But I powered through it, and the whole time, every time we passed by a farm, my fucking grandpa would always look out the window, and he'd say the same thing every time. He'd be like, "Look at all them cattle. Look at all them cattle out there. Big old son of bitches. Them big old son of bitches."
That's awesome. I would love that actually.
Pointed out the cattle image. Drove my dad so fucking crazy. It was really funny.
I always moo at every herd of cows I see on the road, and Bird loves that. So he'll like let me know there's cows so that I can moo at the cows. It's actually 14 and a half hours. I didn't realize how far across South Dakota Mount Rushmore is.
Yeah,
It's like all the way on the west side of South Dakota.
that was definitely the worst part of that trip too. Mount Rushmore is terrible. Fucking tiny.
What especially sucks is that like you basically passed right by Badlands Park, which is awesome.
Oh no, we did
And
go
like
there.
would have been away.
Oh,
you did.
What's
Okay.
this over here? What the fuck? Oh my god.
What happened?
Fucking Ridley in the freezer.
Oh, okay. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at a map of your drive to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, so the
It would have been 8 hours even by plane, which is crazy actually.
most
'Cause it
genius
doesn't-
environmental storytelling in this game is just walking into a freezer room that fucking kills you if you stay in there, and there's Ridley's corpse, and you're just like, uh-oh.
Gee, I wonder if I'm gonna have to fight Ridley in this game. They were like, look, you know what's coming.
Oh, looky here. What's this now? Another Samus.
I also like that they show you Ridley right before they show you something way more interesting and cool that makes you forget about Ridley by the time you get to Ridley. I'm sure that was on purpose and it's pretty brilliant.
The Ridley
Yeah, I
reveal
love
is so
colors.
good too, because it's like you might just miss it. Like there's a good chance you would enter that freezer room, see that you're taking damage, and go and then leave without seeing Ridley behind the door, which is really clever. But yeah, like you just know it's like, oh, the X parasite can mimic other things, and you'll get to that point in the game where the X parasites find Ridley's corpse, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, some things that really impressed me about the visuals in this game. I feel like this was the first one to establish like putting these kind of bezels on all of the surfaces where it's like the floor is bright as fuck and then underneath the floor is dark and industrial,
Yeah.
which like all the other games in Super Metroid there's kind of like a surface layer of dirt. This is like these big thick bezels of floor, and it's like you're seeing, it's as though the camera is sitting like literally outside of the structure and there is no fourth wall, but you can see under the floor, like it's staged somehow.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Shinbo does anime framing sometimes in certain Shaft shows. But then also you've got the way the background has like this very subtle parallax scrolling, and then because the windows just look a certain way, you can tell that it's back there, you know, like it's just enough to give like this three-dimensionality to everything that, you know, I think AM2R definitely took a lot of lessons from, because it went crazy with that.
Yeah.
Love these weird lighting effects and stuff too.
I strongly associate this game with the color purple.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a bright purple. Also associate this game very strongly with the movie Alien Resurrection, which is funny because that movie sucks ass, but this is like the good version of that.
Yeah, this specific purple and teal of the elevator tunnels is definitely what I think of when I think of this game. Oh, obviously the outfit is teal as well.
The color of the ground in this room right here. Like those rocks are drenched in purple. This game has such a like neon cyberpunk feel to it. It's very different from other Metroid games, but it's not bad at all. Like they found a way to make the saturated color palette of a GBA game work with the sci-fi horror vibes. Super Metroid is so desaturated compared to this.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the GBA versus Super Nintendo difference. And of course, as we I think have probably mentioned before, the Game Boy Advance did not originally have a backlight. So it was really hard to look at the screens of those old consoles if you didn't have some kind of like extra light you could attach to it, or just like a really good viewing angle, you know. But like because of this, the GBA games always had like the brightest imaginable color palette, and it looked relatively normal, you know, to be playing it. But when you see it on a monitor, it looks like just the most bright games, which I love. Like, I love playing GBA games on emulators because that color palette speaks to me. I like, you know, vibrant, poppy,
Same.
you know, high saturation color stuff. It's why I'm, you know, more attracted to like a Samsung phone, you know, than other ones like that.
Just
So,
having,
like-
these enemies from Metroid 2, because this space station is supposed to emulate the environment of SR388.
Oh, I
Severe-
never really processed that that's what was going on here.
Yeah, a lot of the
Probably
enemies
'cause
in
this
this
was the
game.
first Metroid I played, so I wouldn't have known what the hell it meant.
Oh, look, a space pirate.
It's crazy. Really brilliant. That's a great way to put that environment into the game and have it not, you know, not have to leave the space station.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
very
like like member berries or whatever. It's like, I remember this thing. Like, no, it has a reason to be here. It makes sense. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, like that super bright pixel aesthetic. I mean, look at the grass and how like poppy it is. And there's plenty of like modern indie games that have deliberately copied Game Boy Advance color palette. You know, like Owl Boy is the one that comes to my mind first, where like it's way more dense with pixels than any actual GBA game, but it looks like that aesthetic at like the highest realization it could be.
Forgot about
Never
Owl Boy.
actually played it myself. Did you play it?
I had a friend who got way into that game, so I have seen quite a
Yeah,
bit
I'd
of
heard
it.
mixed things about it, but I could definitely. It looks just unfathomably gorgeous, so I'd play it for that alone.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely been more and more games going for this like brighter pixel aesthetic, which I really appreciate because again, the Super Nintendo, you were counting on that you had the most backlit screen imaginable, a cathode ray television. So, you know, the games were just way more dim because, yeah, they looked brighter when you played them back then. And that's why people like Krona, who play lots of classic games, have a permanent CRT setup in every room of the house.
It's important. It's how I enjoy all of my shit.
I mean, if you interact with lots of old media, then yeah, I think it's it's literally a way better experience. In the same way that watching modern stuff, you want an HD TV. Like, I would not want to watch a Blu-ray on a cathode ray television, and I do not want to watch a VHS on a plasma screen television.
Yeah, like modern movies look
Format
noticeably
matters.
worse on a CRT display. I remember one time Josh and I we stayed in a hotel, and we turned on the TV, and it was like awful standard definition like movies playing, and I think it was like Avengers 3 or 4 playing in standard def on this shitty cable TV, and the picture was like partly zoomed in, and it looked so fucking bad. It felt like I was watching like a conversion, it felt like watching a moldy VHS of a 2019 movie. And like the CGI and all the details and stuff were just completely lost, and it was so fucking hideous. It's like there's a time and a place for making my movies grainy.
Yeah, when HD TVs first really got popular, it was like for a long time there was the standard def and the HD version of like every channel on TV, and all you have to do is if you go to like the standard def, you could press a button on the remote and it would take you to the HD version of that same channel. And to me, it was always like a vast difference to do that, right? And particularly because on my dad's TV, if you were on the standard def channel, there would be like a 1 pixel bar of like static at the top of the screen, like just like a white bar of like slightly shifting pixels or whatever. And my dad couldn't tell the difference whatsoever, and we're talking about like a 70-inch television, and it's like it could be that there's bezels, it could be that the image is in 4:3 and the top of the screen's wonky and it looks like ass, and like he just wouldn't, like I would walk into the room, literally take a look at the screen and go and then hit the button to make it HD, and my dad would always be like, I can't even tell the difference, and I'm like, you need fucking glasses, like how, what do you mean you can't tell the difference?
It's funny because I don't think I could tell the difference when I was like a kid, but now when I look back on it, like if I try to watch something on DVD, I'm like, holy shit, like watching a DVD on an HD TV, it's like, ew, how did I live like this?
And even DVDs, like a lot of them are decent quality. It depends on the DVD really, because you could put any quality of file onto a DVD that you want, really. So sometimes the DVDs are like, just ass quality. Sometimes they're better.
Yeah, Josh was like aghast at my suggestion that we watch my DVDs of Lord of the Rings, and like for Christmas he got like the 4K transfers of those movies.
Nice. Yeah, the last time I watched them was on DVD, and I remember it looking phenomenal to me at the time. It was probably 480p, which was phenomenal at the time.
I mean, and DVDs definitely look better if you watch them on a CRT, like the fucking, on a 4K TV, it just looks like the pixels are really stretched out, and it's like it's just awful. But I don't know, CRT makes it look more clean.
It's also like there's different quality of CRT also that needs to be taken into account. It's not a blanket statement that CRT is just always better. Because I'm thinking about like when I realized. What'd you say?
I have 2 Trinitrons.
Trinitrons? What are those, like a good one?
Yeah, it's like a Sony brand TV. For some reason, Reddit thinks it's like the end-all be-all of CRT televisions.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and I have 2 of them purely by chance. It's not like I went on eBay and searched Sony TV. It was just people want to get rid of their garbage, and they're like, I'm going to throw this out unless you want it. I'm like, I want it. And they're like,
I want it myself. I'll look into a Trinitron.
Really
I don't have any CRTs. There was a time I had a bunch and I totally took it for granted. Not thinking I would ever have them again. And like a bunch, or rather thinking, because it had been really easy to find them at thrift stores for a long time, where you could just pick up like a little CRT for like $25, and it had been that way for years. So I think when I moved out of my parents' house, basically we just abandoned a whole bunch of like little CRTs, and I was thinking like, oh, one day I'll build this, a collection like this back up, and then immediately after that, they were suddenly impossible to find
Yeah.
because that was the era where gamers started caring, where they were suddenly like, actually, if you play the Wii on a CRT, it doesn't look like total dog shit.
Depending on the game, of course. I found out recently that some Wii games are like widescreen only, and they look so fucking bad on my CRT.
That is
Shrinks
true.
the picture.
That is true.
I remember thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play Skyward Sword, and it's finally gonna look okay, and no. Skyward Sword is ugly no matter what.
I'm surprised, like, I think it's just because 1080p is, like, as good as most people can really tell the difference, and 4K is as good as anyone could, like 8K seems totally unnecessary to seemingly everybody, and that's the only reason I think that we haven't, like it hasn't continued, because it was happening rapidly for years. It was like, I remember when 480p was, like, seriously HD, and that was like for 1 year, and then it was 720p for like 1 year, and then it was 1080p, and it kind of still, like, a lot of monitors are still 1080p on computers, and then you got like 2K and 4K monitors, and I would say 4K is like industry standard, but at the same time there's probably more people still using 1080p than 4K monitors, like, overall.
Yeah. 4K is definitely becoming more standard. It's become way more affordable over the years. I'm more upset
But, like,
that
meanwhile,
smart
like, the
TVs are
actual
standard.
television technology is like, there's like, what, 32K or something. I don't know.
like
There's infinite resolution television, and it's just like the diminishing returns have been met.
Yeah.
And
The changes
also the expense of making anything in that resolution.
the changes get so granular that it's like this is just a luxury for rich people who can afford a TV so unfathomably huge that the difference is noticeable.
Yeah.
If you're playing games on a monitor that's right in front of your face anyway, you don't need 4K. Like, I cannot fucking tell the difference between a 4K monitor and this one I have in front of me right now. I think it's like, I forget the resolution. It's like 2560 by 1440 or something like that.
Yeah. That's a great resolution.
It's like a foot away
Maybe
from my
my
face. This
feet.
is all I need. It's not that big. For a
Yeah.
giant screen TV, though, if you want to have like a home theater, then yeah, go 4K, go 8K, whatever the fuck, go crazy. But like, for a regular size screen, who
1080p
gives a fuck?
To me, 1080p has always felt like a little bit cramped, but 1440 is like as much space as I can figure out how to use. Like, if it gets above that, like 4K monitor, I'm like, I don't need, like, what, everything's too, like, if I make it small enough to have as much stuff on screen as this can fit, I can't read it, so there's just
Hello,
no need to
Caterpillar.
get that granular.
Yeah, it's the same with video game graphics, diminishing returns. The change is so granular it doesn't matter anymore. Come out with a new PlayStation, it's like $700. Who the fuck cares? It looks the same. Get the new video game graphics stagnated after Naughty Dog decided to push the envelope so far. Like, you can see all the pores on Nathan Drake's skin, and you can see you can see the soul in Sully's milky eyeballs. And it's never gonna get better than that, is it?
Yep.
It's so
Caterpillar.
realistic.
The thing about higher resolutions too is it's more pixels for games to run rendering code on. Yeah, it's everything is a multiplication effect. It's like you have to account for, like, every single step of the process is, if you have double the resolution, literally everything is twice as hard. It's just everything's gonna take twice as long, twice as much effort to make
Exponential
happen.
growth is not possible. It does not last forever.
Nope.
Super goofy.
And
Ohms.
yeah,
There are
like,
ohms here.
oh shit, it's that girl. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there's this bit in Gintama. Have you ever watched Gintama at
Only a
all?
little bit. One of my friends showed me some like 8-episode arc that was considered one of the best arcs or something, and I don't remember a thing about it.
You understand the kind of vibe of the show.
I remember him farting in a barrel. That's all I remember, more or less.
Yeah, there's this one arc where every episode, it's like one of the more serious arcs, but every episode starts off with this repeated song and dance number where only a couple of lines are changed, and it's just like the cast doing like I don't know how to describe this. Like it's very like Sinatra style, like like Vegas performance, and they're all singing, like snapping their fingers and singing a jaunty tune, and it's in Japanese obviously, so I can't like sing the tune of the lyrics, but the translated lyrics are like it still costs tremendously more to do 720p, that's why or to do 16 by 9, that's why our show is still in 4 by 3. um this was like 2006 or 7 when this arc was happening, and like most shows were widescreen format, especially in anime, because as was explained by a Funimation rep at a panel I was at one time, we are like super consumers. Otaku are. No, there was a different word he used that didn't sound quite so dystopian, but it was
Super
similar.
Consumer is pretty accurate, I think.
It was something like that. It was whatever the term is for like a type of a consumer that's always ahead of the technological curve, basically. And like for
Gamers.
instance, like basically the reason he was explaining it is that anime fans just had Blu-ray players before anybody else. Like percentage wise, the number of otaku that had Blu-ray players was just like way higher than everyone else, because they're people who collect media, so they were excited about media. And so that's why anime moved into the Blu-ray market like immediately, and particularly Funimation, released everything on Blu-ray as soon as they could. The Dragon Ball Z, I think they were announcing the Dragon Ball Z Blu-ray release at this panel. And I remember at the time, I was just kind of like, who gives a fuck? The show's from the 90s. Why do you need it on Blu-ray? But like, now I understand, because I've seen what it looks like. It's fucking gorgeous, but
Oh man,
But
those
this
Blu-rays are
level
a
also-
travesty.
I love this fucking level. Oh, are they? What did they do? Did they fuck it all up?
Basically,
Everyone was excited at the panel. This was before it happened, so.
Yeah. Basically, every home release of Dragon Ball Z has been slightly more bastardized than the last, because the original film reels, like, they rot and they discolor over time, and their attempts to fully remaster them have been, like, fucked up in some way or another. It's like, oh, the DVDs, or they're, like, zoomed in and they're widescreen only, and they use, like, AI upscaling, and it's hideous. Like, half of the lines are missing, or the picture's cut off because of the widescreen, so it's, like, just awful all around, and the colors are way blown out, so it's too bright. And then you got the Blu-ray where it was like the opposite, where the colors are too dark. And then they had like the ultimate Blu-ray release where they said, oh, it's gonna be fully mastered, it's gonna look exactly like the original TV broadcast. And then it was just the first Blu-ray release again, but with like a film grain filter put over it.
Oh no.
People were able to like put the grains side by side with like old versions of the show and be like, this is not the same film grain, they just put a filter over it.
Canada Police said, just time travel at this point. Get the authentic experience.
Well, that's
The
what I've been
only
doing.
way that-
No, I've literally been collecting Dragon Ball Z on VHS because it's the best looking version that I could find, even with the
So
shitty
out
old
of-
dub that makes no sense.
Out of any story of anyone watching DBZ, there's one that truly like changed my perspective on that show, like made me understand the cultural phenomenon of DBZ and feel that pang of jealousy of like, oh, that would have been cool to experience, which was Ghost Lightning telling me that like during the height of the Frieza arc, there would just be groups of guys standing outside of like TV stores that would have the TVs, tuned to the show, just like groups of people in the streets watching the Frieza arc and like going, Gokuing out.
So hype.
Gokuing out. And everything. And I just imagine that like, 15 dudes like gathered around a TV on a busy street, a tiny CRT playing fucking 5-year-old episodes probably of Dragon Ball Z, and everyone just being completely locked in. And I'm like, that sounds like a time.
It's my favorite arc of the show for a reason, and it's why I'm now going to proudly show off my videotapes, because I paid out the ass to get these things.
Caterpillar says can't have shit like that anymore. Not in America. I'm sure that still happens in the Philippines, because at least as of me being there, it was still very much a chaotic place where chaotic and dense and full of little tech stores everywhere. Like,
eye full of that, baby.
because of the fact that the temperature is what it is there. It's, it's the summer is like all typhoons basically. Like, it's constantly hot and humid. So, and there's it's an insanely dense place, and the people don't have a lot of money, and so therefore the main way people are keeping themselves cool is with electric fans. And so there are electric fan repair stores everywhere in the Philippines. Just like any block you're on, there's more than one, probably, like, place that fixes electronics. And so it's usually, electric fans, TVs, radios, that kind of stuff. And yeah, because there is just so many people, it just wouldn't even make sense economically to have, like, less than 10 people watching a TV at a time.
Real quick, just to focus on the game for a moment, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about, where this game gets a little silly with its game design. There is nothing in this room to indicate what you're supposed to do next. It's just, you're supposed to think to yourself, well, I just got bombs. Oh,
Let me
look.
drop bombs everywhere.
What do you know? Just bomb everything. It's the exact moment that I think Video Game Donkey bitched about. He did a Metroid review, but yeah. Oh yeah, those weren't DVDs, by the way, Caterpilly. Those were VHS tapes. I have a shit ton of Dragon Ball tapes. I have several of the movies, and I have every episode before the Cell games. Everything before the Cell games I have on VHS, because the Cell game saga is mad expensive. Like, I have a few random tapes from the Majin Buu saga, but like that, it's like all over the place. So whatever. But,
I love the map in Metroid Fusion so much.
Collecting.
The way it uses, like, both the what's the word I want? What's the ice cream places where you, not ice cream, but like frozen yogurt? That's what I want. Yeah, they got the frozen yogurt colors all over the map, and it's all like glowing subtly, and the way that, like, green areas are like you found this somehow, like the game is implying that you're discovering a secret that wasn't even charted on the map,
Yeah. I wanted to
and
say,
it gives it that little bit of mystery that is missing from, like, the game telling you where to go and showing you full maps at the start, and then it's kind of like, nah, we didn't actually show you the full map, like.
On the subject of talking about, like, videotapes and CRTs and just old shit, what the most common truth about these things is that they live in this ridiculous limbo state between being, like, rare collectibles and also being trash that costs nothing. And it's so frustrating. If you try to find, like, a CRT television or, like, a VHS player on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or whatever the fuck, you're going to find a lot of stupid assholes who think these things are worth, like, thousands of dollars, and they're going to be marking up the prices, going like, oh, it's a gamer TV, it's really rare. And that shit is so funny to me, because I get all my shit for like 20 bucks or less. Like, I get my VHS tapes for like 30 cents a piece at the thrift store. And there'll be people like, ooh, I got a VHS of the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie. It's the Broly movie. It's like the best one. This one goes for like 300 bucks, right? And I'm like, no, I bought my Broly video at RetroCon for $5. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Think, oh, it's like old. That means it's valuable. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
so from,
it is a dead format. It looks and sounds like shit by today's standards. That is only valuable if, like, literally everyone on Earth wants one. No, it's literally me and like 5 other geeks. No, nobody wants this shit. Lower the prices, you hacks. They're not gonna sell for that much.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, value is never intrinsic to an object, but even especially, like, in an economic sense, objects like that are purely speculative assets, where it's like, it's the idea that someone wants this enough to pay for it is where it gets its value. But as soon as that idea evaporates, then it loses the value. And it's like, the way you find that out is by simply being unable to sell it for the price you're asking for. And all of these objects will eventually meet that fate. At some point, someone's gonna, either die with it, and it's gonna be resold by somebody else for either more or less, depending on if the speculation's gone up, or like they're gonna need to sell it off for whatever it's worth at that time when they need to sell. You
Yeah,
know?
I got my most recent Trinitron. I got it at an estate sale. Belonged to some dead Navy guy, and it's I got it for $20. It's just hanging up in his fucking office, and it works perfectly
There's
fine.
that's the other thing, like there's so much valuable stuff that has just been like purchased and completely forgotten about, and like it is not like it that the value is not being taken advantage of, and it is serving no purpose, and it's like it drives me insane every time I think about like something that it would be helpful for me to have that I can't afford, that I know like probably not far from here someone is just holding on to one,
Yeah,
it just
just
has it,
rotting
and
in their
it has it,
basement.
and like every once in a while those things escape into the right hands, where just like somebody finds out that somebody needs something, it gives it to them, so you do kind of, it helps if you're being very open and like looking for these things, and letting people know. That's something it's helped out me and Bird a lot, to be just like very public about the things that we want because someone we know might have them. For instance, the truck, like Bird just kept insisting how much he wanted a pickup truck for like 5 years, and then finally when someone in the family was like, hey, I'm buying a new pickup truck and I've paid this one off already, you want it? It was like, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's worked for me so far. I've gotten most of my CRTs either for free or for super cheap, because I just happen to be in proximity to people who are like, oh, I have this garbage I don't want, do you want it? I've literally had like a friend from work one time gave me a CRT in his garage because he's like, oh yeah, I know you're into this shit, you want it? Yeah, just
Hell, a significant
talk
amount of
about
my
it all the time.
wardrobe is from women who, when they found out I was transitioning, were like, let me give you all my old clothes that don't fit anymore.
Yeah. If there's anything I've learned since becoming your friend, it's that I can manifest the reality I want if I just believe in it and talk about it enough.
Oh yeah. But you have to be careful with the words you use, because it's always, you always got to remember the monkey's paw, like genie in a bottle, fucking, what's the other, there's some other curse, I'm sure. You gotta choose your words carefully, basically, is the point of all of those parables. I was talking about this in the Discord just yesterday, or maybe it was even earlier today, because we were discussing the lyrics on my latest album, which everybody should go listen to. It's called No Rest for the Psychedelic Night. Or you could also read it as No Rest for the Psychedelic Night, if you prefer. It's really good, and it's only 10 minutes long. It's out of all of my albums the one that will sound the best in your car. If you were to play it on a loud, good sound system, it will actually sound halfway decent compared to a lot of... Well, I guess if you listen to the Blind Skywatcher collection, that one will also probably sound good in your car. Because I also put out collections of like all the good songs I've done with Blind Skywatcher, and then just today with Bad Eater, both friends of mine who've made just tons of great beats that I used, especially in the last 2 years.
Is Blind
I forget why I brought
Skywatcher
that up.
also Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah Louise is
Yeah.
Blind Skywatcher. She is a phenomenal, phenomenal musician. She can do basically anything. Like,
Yes.
she's as good at like singer-songwriter, like, playing my acoustic guitar and just singing, as she is at like producing the most experimental beat you've ever heard,
This fucking SAX motherfucker keeps blowing up all my doors. Oh.
My doors. And yeah, that's also another cool thing about this game, is the environment changes like more actively and more against you,
Yeah.
than the previous ones. There's a lot to love about Metroid Fusion. I feel like it's easy to bring up the flaws in this game, especially from like a speedrunning perspective, where you're like, I'm just trying to get fucking through it and there's all this text, but like
Yeah.
the stuff that it does uniquely well, all these like gross like hatching, like the guys that went into cocoons and now they're hatching and they're gonna turn into harder enemies, like that's just brilliant. So many good ideas.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I had to rank this against the other 2D Metroids, this is probably my least favorite. But like, you know, that's not like a huge insult or anything. I think they're all masterpieces. I'm talking about like 5 different masterpieces. Not counting the original games, of course. Like okay.
You mean Zero Mission and AM2R
Yeah,
replacing?
yeah. The ones that we played on stream. Like out of the 4 that we've played so far, I'd say this is my least favorite. But like, I'm talking about the difference between like a 10 out of 10 game and a 9 out of 10 game. You know?
I gotta say,
This game fucking rules. It just
I'm
has
enjoying
a few
watching
little...
this one more than I remember enjoying watching AM2R. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe partly just out of nostalgia, but I love the way this game is laid out. Like, it's super unique. I feel like AM2R feels a little bit less distinct than this does.
Yeah, well, AM2R is also trying to be like a big, like, it's like semi-faithful to the original game, but it's also like a big PC game, and this is like
Yeah.
this is a handheld game that you're meant to be able to pick up and play for 5 minutes and then save and turn it off.
True.
I think things just happen a lot faster in this one. There's a lot more variety in the things you're
I
seeing.
do love how dense it is.
Yeah. 'Cause, like, I worry sometimes I don't give Fusion enough credit because it is pretty fucking sweet, but like, it's just it really is just the few things holding it back and make it like, it's not quite as good, not quite. It's just a slightly more
It's a
frustrating.
question of a game that I'm gonna play 50 times versus 500 times. You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it doesn't seem like I've said this before that like the chasm between a 10 and a 9 should be like catastrophic. You know, like. And between every number on the scale, really, because like there's so much media that to say something is a 9 versus a 10, like you're really saying like this beats 100,000, you know, 9s to be in this little exclusive group of 10s or whatever. And
Yeah.
but like you really feel that when you get to the granularity of a series like this where all of the games are like a 9 at minimum, you know, and then a couple of them are 10s, and it's like that's the one that you're gonna play a billion times because you know it's a 10 out of 10 experience. There's no
Yeah.
questions, there's no niggling doubts about it.
I think it's kind of funny that if you look at the Metroid series as a whole, like all the Metroid games, not just the 2D ones, I really do see this franchise as being a 50-50 split between like all-time classics and a bunch of crap. Like half of the
Oh, yeah.
franchise is just a bunch of crap.
I mean, you can really blame all that on that one producer, I think.
Yeah.
There was one video I watched, because I watched a fuckload of Metroid videos and like history videos, and there was only one that I watched that really addressed the fact that, like, there was one guy who's a producer that worked for Nintendo who basically they would hand him stuff they didn't know what to do with. Like, they just kept giving him franchises that were like, whatever. And sometimes he had come up with good stuff for that, but he got handed Metroid around the time of these games. You know, Metroid Prime and Fusion came out at the same time. But like once he was in control of it, that was when he was the one who like came up with, for instance, when it approached about a pinball game, went, oh, what if we put Metroid on that because she turns into a ball, and then, you know, well, hey, there's competitive shooters are like a big deal right now, and we've got the DS is capable of online play. So how do we compete with Halo? Well, we have a Halo-like everybody compares Metroid to Halo. What if Metroid was Halo? Like, you know, it's producer brain. It's just this guy's very producer-brained way of looking at Metroid that gave us all this nonsense. And it's like that dude needed to sit down and have a conversation with the Metroid fan base. But I think the problem is that the Metroid fan base is not in Japan. These games have never sold in Japan, so
Yeah.
they didn't really know what was. And they also never sold that well, you know? Like, the best-selling one has 3 million copies, so it's not like it's ever been super successful. So I could see why Nintendo might be thinking, like, well, if we're gonna keep doing it, how do we make it bigger? You know, and like the answer is you don't. You just appeal to the people who really like it, and then they'll make it bigger. You know, if you're lucky. If not, then give up. Stop doing it.
Wonder if
Don't
that-
change it. Just let it die.
I wonder if that producer had anything to do with Metroid Prime 4. Like if he was the one tapping on the shoulder being like, you should put like a nerdy guy in it.
I would
should give
think
Samus
that
a
at the very least
motorcycle. That
he
would
was
be
around at the
cool.
start of its production, because it's been in production for like 13 years.
Yeah.
We still haven't even talked about Metroid Prime 4 at all. I mean,
No.
neither one of us has played it, but there's been plenty of reports,
Yeah.
because it came out yesterday.
I'm gonna get myself a copy. I haven't really been paying attention to what other people are saying about it. I just saw like there's a little bit of outrage over some of the cutscenes that they released on YouTube. People being like,
So you're
"Oh,
gonna
they
buy
added
it sight
NPC
unseen."
characters and they're annoying. They have like a millennial humor or some, I don't know,
Yeah.
buzzwords."
You're gonna buy it sight unseen. Just, are you assuming it will be good or bad?
I'm not really assuming anything. I'm just like, I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, I think I'll probably end up liking it, but not as much as the first Prime game. 'Cause, like, I've never even bothered with
And
I never
you haven't
bothered
watched any footage from it at all or anything?
No, I've just seen a couple clips on YouTube. Like I saw the trailer when it came out. I haven't rewatched the trailer. I saw, so I know like Samus has a motorcycle. I've seen her new suit, which looks really awesome, and I've seen a couple of clips of Samus talking to some Federation people who kind of talk and act like they're in a Disney Plus show.
You saw the dweeb on top of the ship or whatever?
Yeah, I
who
sent you
she has
that.
to, like, shoot down. Yeah.
That one caught me just because I was just like, who the fuck? Like, the way he moves his head around and says, "Win?" What the fuck is that? There's people
Not
bitching
great,
about it,
yeah.
like, no, in Metroid games you're supposed to be isolated and alone, and I'm like, yeah,
I mean, the timing was not great. That I put out a video called Metroid versus Isolation, where I basically came to the conclusion that like the defining attribute of all of the good games was isolation, and then like a couple weeks later a trailer comes out and it's like, look at this derpy dude you get to hang out with.
Samus
Maybe
has
he'll
friends.
fall in love with Samus. Whoa, like his vibe to me is like love interest, because whenever you got a hard ass chick, they always try to pair him with a dorky guy. So like I saw that and I was like, oh no, this is anime. Like this is bad. Like
I saw
do
another
not want
clip.
fucking anime in my Metroid.
I saw another clip of the game where it wasn't the nerdy guy, it was a different character. There were like two other Federation people, and one of them was acting like she was kind of like the rookie, I guess. And she sees Samus, and she goes up to her and just starts geeking the fuck out. Like, she's like, oh my god, you're Samus. Oh, that's so cool. I've always wanted to meet you. Oh, is that a new suit? Oh man, oh gosh, I'm just so... And I was like, alright. It's like this dialogue is not contributing anything to the narrative. It's not endearing me to her. It just feels very like paper thin. Like, and then she geeked out. Like, okay,
Yeah.
generic
Shout
fangirl.
out.
I don't care.
Shout out Malik Productions and Lapusha and Z Cypher, who all showed up in chat.
Yo.
I have only seen a few things from Metroid Prime 4, and the vibe I'm getting is abject disaster. Like Duke Nukem Forever level 13-year dev cycle for something no one's gonna be happy with, except for like, I mean, okay, so last night it came out, you know,
Yeah.
I watched a bit of a stream from one of the Metroid like channels, one of the dedicated like 13 years of YouTubing Metroid channels. Because there's like 3 different channels that have been like over 10 years, all they do is talk about Metroid. And I was watching this dude play it, and he looked like he was just genuinely so excited about the fact that the game is real, and like just ready to soak up everything about it and totally enjoy it. And he played the demo, and like he was, you know, I understand the haters and everything, but I'm gonna have a good time. And I'm watching him play, and he looks like he's, you know, trying to maintain excitement, whether he really feels strongly about what's happening or not. But as I'm watching, I was just like, everything I'm seeing is fucking terrible. This game looks like ass. This game looks... I mean,
Nothing
starts
I saw
off
in the
with, like-
trailers excited me. I just like the motorcycle. I was like, oh, the motorcycle could be cool depending on how it's used. It depends on whether it's like an action set piece like Bayonetta or if it's just a thing you do throughout the game. Sounds like it's more like the Batmobile from Arkham Knight, from what I've heard. Like,
The game like opens with like a cutscene that's just a big epic space battle, like Star Wars space battle.
oh, okay.
Which like Metroid Prime 3 had stuff like that in it. But like it's very much like, all right, big epic space battle, Star Wars, stuff's happening.
Jar
and then
Jar's a funnier
Samus like
character than we've ever had in Metroid before. Jar Jar's the key to the whole thing.
and Samus lands on the planet, and the first like where you take control of the character, you know, she jumps off the ship, it does the epic with like the whole band and everything, you know, trying to sound as epic as fucking possible. And then you land, and you're in like what I would describe as like a sort of corridor of like a desert planet, and there's war happening in the distance, you know, like you can see all these explosions, bullets flying and everything. And I was just like, this is fucking Mass Effect. Like, it's not Metroid. This is Halo. This is Mass Effect. This is literally every other sci-fi military shooter game.
Damn.
And not Metroid. And it looks so generic, but like also the graphics are dated as fuck. Like,
Sounds like they learned nothing from Prime 3 then. This is sounding a lot like Prime 3.
It's ugly, but like it looks really cartoony, and it kind of just looks like a Wii game. You know, like to me, it looked like, okay, well this looks about as good as Metroid Prime looked 13 years ago,
Yeah.
which. Granted, Metroid Prime has held up really well, but I don't think Metroid Prime 4 looks as good as the remake of the first game.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Just because the art design's not as good and the graphics are no better, so and it just felt like a totally generic location, and I was like, what if any of this, none of this is giving Metroid. All of this is suggesting, again, Mass Effect is what it looked the most like, but like Mass Effect 3 had tremendously better graphics. And is like 12 years old. You ever play any Mass Effect?
No. I would like to, though. I think you can get all 3 of them on Steam for a bargain.
You can
Costs like
definitely.
nothing now.
It's the thing about Mass Effect is that I don't know what version is the easiest to recommend in terms of platform, because it was originally on 360,
You?
and yeah, that's not the one to go with. When the 360 version came out, everybody had complained about the controls of the Mako, which is like this like ground level car thing that you use to explore the planets.
Landmaster.
On the PC version, I thought the controls were great because they're really good for keyboard and mouse. But then by the time you get to Mass Effect 3, the game has the combat's become complicated enough that it really necessitates a controller, and there is no controller support on the PC version. And also it's like an EA network, you know, like bullshit, like, you know, because EA bought the studio, so it became like a pain in the ass. And then they made a PS3 version, and so when that came out, I immediately bought the PS3 trilogy, thinking like, well, this will have, you know, the best controls and probably run better. But that version had technical issues. It would crash. It was just clearly not an amazing port. And I think they recently released the whole trilogy on Switch. I'm not sure, because for a long time it was only 3. Like when the Switch, or no, it was when the Wii U came out. They had put Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U, and only 3, which made no fucking sense.
Oh, but you could choose.
The whole conceit.
You could choose what outcomes you wanted for the first 2 games. So give you a
Actually,
shitty
I should have
recap.
done that. That would have been better than keeping my actual results from 2 when I played 3. Just give yourself all the best endings from 2.
Yeah, I was.
Which, you miss, like, if you fuck up the end of 2, you miss a massive amount of Mass Effect 3, which is really stupid. Like,
That's really fucking funny. Oh my god. I mean, I was an early adopter of the Wii U, and I remember being fucking mystified at that choice, and they put just Mass Effect 3 on there. I was like, you mean just the one that everyone bitched about?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They should have. I mean, nothing they were doing at the time made a whole lot of sense. Whatever, but um, Mass Effect is one of those where it's like it's tough to go back to because it's very of its time. And so like it's easy to get frustrated with a lot of the decisions it makes because you're kind of thinking like you didn't have to make the game like this. Like you made the game like this because it was 2007 slash 2007 through 10 or whatever, and like cover shooters were all the rage, and like I just don't think they could have gotten the budget to make a game at the scale they were trying to make if they didn't make it like feel normal enough that it could be sold to like normies. But like in retrospect, now that games have gone in a new direction, like those mechanics just feel dated. It just feels like a very 2007 cover shooter with like frustrating movement. It's just like kind of moving the characters around just doesn't feel that good. Like the gunplay doesn't feel that good until 3, and then 3 has a fucked up story. So it's like 3 is where the gameplay finally really soars, but that's not really what you came to Mass Effect for, so do I really want to go back to it for that? I don't know. And then you go back and play 1 or 2 and you're like, wow, the story is so interesting, and then the gameplay is just like frustrating at moments, until you get OP, and then it's just a cakewalk, which doesn't take that long, but then you become frustrated that you have to do combat at all because you're just blowing through it and it doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to try it. I don't know. I've played old-ass PS3 games and had a good time. I'm an enjoyer of old video games, though that is my least favorite.
BioWare
probably
RPGs
my least favorite
at all?
generation to return to, but
Have you ever played any of the BioWare games?
what are they?
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Neverwinter Nights, Jade Empire, what was like the really famous ones before Mass Effect? I mean, Mass Effect's probably their most famous game series. I know I'm forgetting something. Basically, all of them are similarly like big world, big open levels, take missions from a bunch of people in town, and like run around action combat. But like KOTOR was like turn-based in like the style of almost like Chrono Trigger, where like you would run in, just like a person on the map, and then you are now in a battle. But it's just super clunky and awkward, that game, and like people fucking sing the praises of KOTOR to high heaven, and I, having seen like maybe 10 hours of the game, do not get it. I don't understand what is so beloved about it. I thought the dialogue was all like super awkward, and Mass Effect is still kind of like, written somewhat like autistically, I guess would be the way I would describe it, but it is just really interesting. It has so much lore and like really cool alien species and shit. And, like the central narrative of each game is fine, but to me it's really all the world building that makes the games cool, and the characters being really fun.
Yeah, my first time interfacing with a game, that was, it's like that was the era when video games were focusing more on player choice and agency, just making games as big and open and free as possible, where every choice you make matters and the story bends to your will. And, for a long time, people would tout that their game was that game, and they weren't, and they were usually butthole. Fable being the earliest one I tried, where they were like,
for the record,
hilarious.
Fable's still a very fun game,
Yeah.
just not for the reasons originally stated.
Yeah, I'd be like, in Fable, every single choice matters, and you play the game, and it's like, if you're nice to people, you get more rewards for quests and stuff, and if you're evil and you kill people for no reason, they scream and run away, and that's it.
Yeah. Being in all of those games, it's less about the mentality of like, do I want to play a dark story versus a light story? Of it's more, do I care about the story?
Yeah.
And if you don't care about the story, you get to play the funny, dark route. And
Yeah,
I've
you're the
realized that
Chaos
more and more
Gremlin.
through watching. Bird recently played Fallout New Vegas, and he just killed everyone. Like, he beat the game. You could beat the game that way. He just killed everybody, and it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. That game's mid, you know, like 'cause it's not that actually like fun to play. You know, it's a story game, but he didn't think the story was that interesting, or it didn't like grab him in a way that made him go, oh, I'm gonna follow this quest line. He would just kind of get sick of each character and kill them. So,
oh, that hurts.
he was like, I don't know, this isn't really for me. But, you know, he's coming off of that from being like a Borderlands player, where like in Borderlands, you could pretty much ignore, like you can indulge in the story if you so choose, but the game is just fun to play and the story is there, you know, like if you want it. But like, yeah, with like Mass Effect, for instance, like I had friends who would play the Renegade route because it is basically just playing it like you're a normal video game character, which is to say that you're going to kill everybody and you don't really give a fuck about diplomacy, you know. But like, it's so against the tone of Mass Effect to play it that way. Like, if you play Renegade in Mass Effect, you feel the whole time like someone should kill me, like someone should have killed me by now, or like the government shouldn't be hiring me to do this because I'm clearly not good at this whole diplomacy thing, you know, like. Whereas if you play the game Paragon route, it sounds like you're just being a very normal, rational person the whole time. Like, you're always saying the thing that obviously makes sense. Like, so I like, particularly in Mass Effect 1, I don't think I chose the negative option once because it never made sense contextually. It always just made me think, well, that would be really unreasonable if I did that, you know? But it's ultimately an excuse for, like, if you're the type of player who's like, I'm coming to video games because I want to kill all the people, you know, like, that is a way to play it. And or if you just want to laugh at, like, you know, causing misfortune for digital humans.
That was my sense when I played Infamous, which is one of Josh's favorite games. Yeah. He loves Infamous too. I played the first one, and I quite liked it. It was a fun time. To me, the evil choices in that game are not anything I would ever... It's like the payoff is never worth it. It's like, oh, you can choose to do this dark, sinister thing. And it's like your reward is usually that you get some cool new powers, but it comes with a cost every time. It's like, oh, will you choose to turn on the city's water and save all the people, or will you, like, you know, turn it off or something? And it's like you get like oil sprayed in your face and you can't see for 10 minutes. It's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just like, this is just replay value to me. Like, to me, the evil run is just New Game Plus. It's like, I'm going to play the game the hero way to get the real story, and then I'll just go Chaos Gremlin mode and see what the Dark Path does, just to be different if I decide to play it again. That's all I want. It's not that deep. The first time I played a game that had these, like, options where you could, you know, make choices and stuff, the first time I played one where I actually gave a shit was Telltale's The Walking Dead. And that one I found interesting because people said, like, oh, that game sucks because the ending is the same no matter what you do. And it's like the broad strokes of what happens are the same, but your relationship to each character can be completely different depending on how you treat them, and that to me is the pull of that game. It's like two different people could play it and come to completely different conclusions. One person saying, like, oh my god, Kenny's such a bro, he's the coolest guy, and other people be like, Kenny's a fucking tool, and I hate him. To me, that's I don't know, that's like the appeal of that kind of thing. It's not about, like, I don't care so much about the freedom of, like, oh, you can go anywhere and change anything. I'm more about, like, I want to feel like I am the guy in the game. I want to feel like that guy is doing things I would do, not just giving me a binary choice of, like, a good or evil. I want it to have nuance. I want it to be like, if I was in this situation, like, okay, like, what would I do if I was actually in the situation, you know? It gets that part in The Walking Dead where there's this old fat racist guy and he's like, oh, I bet this kid got bit by a zombie. I don't know that for sure, but we should kill him just to be safe. And it's like, this guy's a fucking prick. If I met this dude in real life, I would pound him. And the game gives you an option to punch him. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna punch him. And then he almost has a heart attack. It's like everyone gets mad at me. I'm like, okay. Cool,
That's
and
pretty
like it
funny.
gives you options of how you want to respond to that emotionally too. Like that's what I like about it. Care way more about the like the emotional payoff than the actual plot differences, you know?
For
Guess
sure.
that's what I'm trying to say. Where do I fucking go? Proceed
Yeah, I
to the
definitely
data room.
think games like that where they're not trying to be anything other than a game about choosing your story are much stronger at that,
Yeah.
you know, like
Also, why I love Fallout
Mass
New
Effect
Vegas.
is like there's certain things that change based on the decisions you make, but none of them are they're not especially interesting because it's the kind of stuff where it feels more like it's bait for you to replay the game. Like you're just kind of locked out of certain storylines based on the decisions you make, and it's um like in the first game, the most major decision that you have to make is whether one or another of your party members dies, and like neither one was that likable to me by that point. And like
Yeah.
both of them, you know, their story evolves over the course of all three games if you keep them alive. But like it just kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't feel like this big emotional decision had been made. I felt like, well, I'm either gonna see this guy's story or this lady's story, you know, like and ultimately that means I have to play through it again if I want to get the other one, or I could just decide I don't care. But it didn't feel like the consequences mattered to the story as like outside of those characters, you know, like in fact it has to be written in such a way that the story doesn't really, you know, like which one you pick doesn't change almost anything other than who you interact with for the next two games. But they're so individual because if their story interacted with anyone else's story, they'd have to change all of it. You know, the domino effect would be massive, and there's too much else going on in Mass Effect to invoke all of that. As Ecypher pointed out, that Dragon Age was the other big BioWare RPG series.
Yeah, no, haven't touched that one either. I have to turn the heat down real quick. It's
Foe
hot as
says that
fuck
they
in this room.
I'll wait till she gets back. I'm gonna bring up the Sonic, the Sonic. Is that the Sonic and the Black Knight or whatever? That's the one, right? The Sonic RPG. You say it has an infamous reputation. Is it not good? I
What
don't
are we
really
talking
remember
about?
reading reviews for it. Apparently, BioWare made the Sonic RPG on the DS.
Oh yeah, I heard that one was disappointing.
That seems to be the case. Here's a question from Lapusha, and I'm curious to get your answer to this, because a question like this always kind of stumps me. She said, mind if I ask what the point of this channel is? I just want to understand its purpose as a viewer.
Well, we started this channel just to have an excuse for us
We play
to...
video games.
Yeah, like, we were just thinking, like, what's a show we can do together? And, like, I like playing video games, and I'm good at playing them and talking at the same time, so we should do a gaming show. And then we did a gaming show, and this is pretty much the extent of it, is I'm just like, I just like doing this. Whether or not it takes off and gets us any success, oh, of course, I just fall through the fucking floor. Why not I just fall through the fucking floor? That's obvious.
Hey,
so
so-
obvious. Why wouldn't you have figured that out? Why wouldn't you have figured that out? I'm such a dummy. Why is it so obvious? It's Metroid Fusion.
When it comes to a question like that, I always find myself kind of reading through the... Because to me, the purpose is self-evident, right? It's a Let's Play show. That
Yeah. It's like Digi
where
Bros.
it's a live stream. But then I think, okay, well, there must be a reason you're asking. Like, it can't be that it's... And I think what she means is, what is the purpose of it as opposed to another channel? Like, why have another channel for it as opposed to that this is streamed on one of our channels? And the answer for that, I guess, is mostly for the sake of archive. That, like, it's one type of thing. Like, I'm very encouraging of the idea that you should just have as many channels as different types of things that you do. because different audiences really do only want certain things, and if they want all of it, they'll just sub to all of it. Who gives a fuck? You know, like, why not be sub to 10 channels, like, as long as you're getting all of them in your sub feed? But you know, if you don't want certain types of content, then it's a lot easier for the audience to decide what they do or don't want. And then if something blows up, you're not beholden to only, you know, like, if this channel did blow up, we would have this, and it wouldn't be like, oh, now I've got to put my anime reviews on here too, or whatever. It's like, no, those go where they go, you know. So yeah, basically, just to me, it just makes sense to be like, if you're gonna have a collaborative gaming show, give it its own channel. So hopefully that answers the more underlying question. Yes, it's a collaborative channel.
Yeah.
It only exists when both of us are here, and also with artwork from Nisa. So it's really it's the three of us working together. All of the imagery is Nisa's. All of the, you know, streams are the two of us. We're the slime dolls.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of like Game Grumps, but slime dolls.
Yeah. Because we're trans girls, so dolls, and play Dragon Quest, therefore slimes. Slime girls, slime dolls.
Now, there's also the aspect of, like, beyond just being a Let's Play show, we will be posting like analytical videos here that are also collaborative, because we've got a massive Dragon Quest video, which I have actually made pretty significant progress on editing last week, while we weren't streaming, not for any particular reason other than forgetting, or being busy with other things.
I'm in a weird, like, stasis lately of being, like, simultaneously busy as fuck and not busy at all. I've been feeling some kind of way. Brain fog.
Check this out. I got a big old cat.
Kitty! Hello, Chungus cat. Oh.
He just suddenly, like, stood on the back of my robe, and I was like, what's happening? Oh.
I think, yeah, people should be able to see I have a Chungus cat on my futon
He
behind
ran
me
off. He was not happy about that.
I have a big ass cat sleeping behind me over there on the futon. He's very Chungus. So cute.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. I said oh yeah, but I didn't actually remember.
Yeah, the Dragon Quest discussion video I've been editing for eternity.
Yes.
So we recorded that like months ago. Because we each recorded like gameplay footage and like playing a video game in full. It's like an RPG. It's not particularly long RPG, but we both recorded ourselves playing it in full. You have to edit that along with our, like,
ourselves
4-hour discussion
playing in
of it.
full. We edited our gameplay footage, so there are fully edited gameplay videos from both of us that will be released as like bonus content for the video itself. But also some of it is in the video because we were, you know, discussing the game as we went, and it just makes for good editing. But also because we recorded this before I got my new microphone, and so my microphone is doing odd things all throughout the recording, just skipping out sometimes, or just having static, or just being weird. And so there's certain parts where I made the same point in the original recording as I did in the other one, so I just, you know, cut out that version. Mostly organizing all of it was the biggest nightmare of, like, figuring out where does the footage from the gameplay need to be placed into this discussion? How do I make it flow in a way that makes sense? And then eventually I finally hammered that out, and I've got the first 30 minutes locked, like, done, and they're great. And I'm like, oh, this is a great video. There's 3 hours of material. So I don't think the rest of it will take nearly as long to edit as the first 30 minutes did, because a lot of that was just me figuring out how to edit it.
Okay.
And it's kind of laid out. Like, it's not that the other 2.5 hours aren't edited. They're, like, just not polished, you know. Cutting out all the stops and everything, making it flow right, adding the imagery and all that kind of shit. So I have the whole 3 hours like slotted out, but it will be almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's taking so goddamn long to make. Probably gonna have to really like plan out the next one more carefully.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll use this as a learning experience, so the following videos will be more. We'll be more prepared, a little more guided with how we approach the production, so that it will not take an eternity to figure out.
The issue I always have with every video series that I do is that I'm broke. So if the video series is not making me money actively, it always is going to be on the back burner, you know? And so with this one, it's like there was already like a huge initial time investment of playing the game and getting all that footage. And then by the time that was done, it was like, I need to go do another project now because I need to make money. And then, you know, we actually did the recording of us discussing the games. And then as soon as that was done, oh, gotta go do another project now. I gotta make money, you know, and then edit a little bit. Well, that took, you know, 2 days, and I didn't make any money those 2 days, so now I gotta go do something that makes money. So yeah, it's pretty much just been like well, this is kind of a passion project and for fun, because I don't know that it will make any money when it's done. It might, but I don't know that. So, you know, which is almost always true with any series I do, but there's some that are just like more guaranteed than others. But like for instance with Samus versus Samus, like there was a minimum amount I thought, like, if it doesn't make above this will be an abject failure. And it made above that. So that was nice. But there was also a maximum amount that was like, this is what it needs to clear to be considered a success. And it's nowhere near that, you know? So if it had been, I probably would have gone and finished the Dragon Quest video right away, because I would have been like, oh, I've got enough money to spend a month on whatever I want. That was not the case. It was more like, I've got 3 days to spend on whatever I want. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a perpetual state of buying myself a couple days. Like, basically always making a project over the course of a few days that will buy my ability to make a project over the course of the next few days. And so on and so forth. If I'm lucky. Sometimes they just don't make any money. But then the next one maybe makes twice as much, and so it balances out. I don't know. I'm broke. Send funds.
Meanwhile, I have been working on projects sporadically because I have a day job that makes me both frustrated with life in general, and it, I don't know, it just wears me the fuck out.
Yeah, regular job's not fun.
There's like a number of things going on. Just my inability to fucking regulate my emotional state. Like, I've had one of the most like sporadic mental health weeks ever this week. I think like Tuesday I actually wanted to die, and then Wednesday I felt pretty darn good and got like a significant amount of work done on like YouTube stuff.
I was pretty out of it today, not in like any kind of depressed way, but just like it's very gray and rainy and didn't have anything to do, so I was just kind of sitting there like spaced, you know, like watching videos about weird city names and stuff like that.
Yeah, I very much do not. I don't have like coping mechanisms for the way that I am. I'm just kind of autistic and ADHD in like a vague way, and I have habits I fall into without realizing it. So there will just be times where, like, I'm writing a script, and I'm like, this sucks, and then I rewrite the script, and then Josh gets home, and he's like, oh, let's watch a TV show, and I'm like, okay. And we watch, like, 1 or 2 episodes of a TV show, and then I'm just, like, looking at my phone, and he's like, why are you looking at your phone? And I'm like, and I keep looking at my phone, and we're not watching anything anymore, and he's like, are you gonna watch any more show with me? And I'm like, yeah. I just need a minute. And then I just stare at my phone and nothing happens for another 15 minutes.
That is stone cold dissociation right there.
It's something.
Bird is very prone to if he is in like a phone hole, he is almost uncommunicable.
Yeah.
Like, and it tends to be, especially if he gets home from work, like, you know, he'll get changed, he'll like lay down, and then he'll start looking at YouTube shorts, and then communication becomes nearly impossible because he can't summon his consciousness to the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like, and I know it's
Happens
just
to
because
me all
he's
the time.
processing something, you know, in the background
Yeah.
that, like, there's nothing he can do to speed along that. It's just happening. And so he's just like, well, I guess my brain's not on. I'll just keep plugging, you know, shorts into it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll realize, like, he's not even really paying attention to the shorts. Like, you know, you could ask him about something that he just saw and he will be like, what? You know, the thing the guy was saying. Oh,
I feel that so hard though. Happens all.
I can be the same way, of course, but I'm more likely to literally just stare into space and like do nothing. And I do it more when other people aren't around. I'm more prone to just be like doing nothing, you know,
Yeah.
but
of my-
thinking.
Part of my problem is that I am a bit of a gamer, and
Mm,
you know, basically my, like, you know, for ages I have used video games as a habit to fall back on when I'm in that, you know, mental state of like unfeeling, like dissociation. You know, I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm going to turn on a game that I like and get that, you know, that feedback, that emotional like gratification of inputting things in the game and getting a kinetic response from it that sends dopamine into my brain.
yeah.
It's like just a game that I can mindlessly enjoy because I've played it 100 times, something like Sekiro or whatever the fuck. I'm like, I know exactly where everything is in this game. I don't have to think. I can just play. It's my distraction. And
I'm always kind of seeking like something that will make me
Make you
inspired to do something. Like, and so like with video games, I think part of the reason that I have trouble getting into a lot of them is that, like, the main thing a game is there to compel you to do is play more of the game.
Yeah.
And I have to be like deeply in love with the experience. And like recently I played a bunch of Splatoon 3, and I love Splatoon 3 as like pretty much the only game I can like put on and just keep mindlessly going for hours. And like, not like every time a match is over, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go for the next match, you know, like whereas with most games, like, I'll just kind of get tired of it after maybe an hour or so and be like, all right, you know, it's time for something else. But like usually when I'm coming to a piece of media, what I'm hoping is that it's going to send me off to go create something or motivate me to go, you know, have my own idea. And I'll stop right in the middle of it, you know, to go do the thing. Like the other day, I had been like, I made a bunch of lists of like shows and games and stuff that I'm like really interested in taking a look at. Like a very short list of like, what are just the things I'm the most interested in checking out. And so, for instance, one of them is a show called The Vince Staples Show, which is a show by a rapper called Vince Staples. And I watched the first episode and I thought it was really good. And then I watched the start of the second episode, and like maybe 2 minutes into it, he references Ghost in the Shell. And then I made a whole video. Like immediately spent like the next 4 hours, you know, just making that why rappers love Ghost in the Shell is what it's called. And it was a video idea I'd already had for a while. I had just kind of put it off and wasn't sure I was actually going to do it. But then just hearing him mention it in that show was like, well, now I have to, you know, like now I've got evidence. I did not go back to the episode. Like, I was so immediately inspired that I literally stopped the episode, like opened up OBS, recorded him saying that line, and then collected it for the next 2 hours, every reference to Ghost of the Shell I could find in a rap lyric. And then recorded my piece and then edited it and then put out the video, you know. And by the end of all that, I had forgotten that I had been watching the Vince Staples Show. But that's like an ideal situation for me with media, is that like I'm gonna watch a show for 10 minutes and then get so inspired that like now the rest of my day is figured out, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like an electrifying feeling to actually get a project like that done, and feel it all come together, and see people react to it, and feel like you've changed the way that people see the world just through observing something about it. But then as soon as it's over, like the second I get the last comment from the initial burst of comments, then it's right back to, okay, well, gotta find something else. What's the next thing I'm gonna mine inspiration from? Do I go back to the Vince Staples show? No, I'll let that rest for a moment, because I've already gotten something from it, so let's go in a totally different direction. And that tends to be the cadence of how I do things.
Oh,
I forgot about this boss entirely.
I wish the process was that quick for me. I have been struggling so much lately. I've spent the last few months starting and not finishing projects because the inspiration just doesn't come until it does. Which did like a couple days ago. I think I know exactly what this video is going to be that I had the idea for. Like around the same time I was working on Mean Dysphoria was when I had the idea for it, and it's only now that it's starting to really take form. Which is frustrating. It's been a long time. I don't want it to take that fucking long.
I mean, so
people will watch my videos and think, I like this,
like...
I like Giga Junk. I want to put your Giga Junk video. I don't want to forget I exist. They've forgotten me. They're going to forget. It's been too long. It's been too long.
I never forget anything. Except for what happened 5 minutes ago at any given moment.
Yeah. I texted you today and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot we were streaming today.
Yeah.
Me too, almost. I set an alarm on my phone. Knew I would forget.
When you texted me, I was literally like laid back in my chair, like, I feel like there's something that's supposed to happen, like... Then I got the text and I was like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen.
Magnificent.
Yeah, I kind of gotta pee. I'll remember what point I was about to make while I go to the bathroom.
Sorry. Video games. Video games. I hate video games. Gonna stuff you full of inspiration somehow. I don't know. I'll do it. Good. I think a huge part of it is just the lack of socialization I've had the last couple months. Just been isolating too much. And I mean, like, it's because of mental health stuff, which fluctuates all the time, so it shouldn't be as much of a problem as it has been, but like, truly, I get inspired more by socializing more. Just by talking to lots of people and hearing their perspectives on things, it fills me with ideas. Because like, I can't just make a video saying, here's how I see the world in contrast to how you see it, if I don't know how other people see it. And I'm just bullshitting, I'm just yapping into the ether about nothing. I need to know things, and I need to know people to know things. And I haven't been talking to people. Whereas I think B has almost the opposite approach, where she's like, I need to she's like, I gotta lock in and make more art, so I'm going to like distance myself socially so that I can spend more time focusing on creativity. I'm like, that don't work for me. If I try to isolate to focus on creativity, I'm staring at a blank Word document, just like staring into the void. Power bombs. Need isolation to create, but yeah, you need to like interact with people to fill the well. Haha. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I can't create in a social environment unless I'm like I can collaborate on a project, but that's like we're in work mode,
And I recommend standing up and giving yourself a nice stretch for a second.
Okay.
You need to interact with people to fill the well. That's definitely true. though I get a lot of my inspiration from, just other people's YouTube videos and stuff like that. Um,
Oy.
it's kind of interaction, especially
Sort
if
of.
I actually respond to it. But it's more like just action, I guess.
I have a
Um,
tendency to. I get a mix. My inspiration I get from YouTube videos and from just people I talk to in my life. And I feel like if I draw inspiration just from YouTube stuff, I start to get way too in my own head about it. And I'm just like, oh, would anyone even fucking care? Like, would anyone watch this? And like, I don't know. Based on just the stuff I watch on YouTube, I feel like I should know better. That like I could just fucking yap autistically about nothing
Yeah.
for hours, and someone would watch it. And I know this for a fact because I watch Scott the Woz. You watch Scott the Woz's second channel, Scott Stash. All of his videos on Scott Stash are just him, unscripted, autistic babbling about, so this video is about different Game Boys, and, I think this Game Boy is pretty neat. It's got, like, this type of screen. I don't feel that great about the D-pad. It's just talking about the most minute details of a thing he likes, which is what I do in my head when I'm bored at work all day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if I just filmed this, someone could watch it. And that blows my
That is the whole
fucking
theory
mind.
behind which all of this happened. All of these YouTube, this whole adventure, whole enterprise.
Yeah.
It's just people being like, what if the thing I did, other people could see me doing that? Like,
Yeah. And I always have this weird inhibitor in my brain telling me like, well, no, you shouldn't do that because no one will care. No one would watch that. And then I see, proof to the contrary all the time. Where I'm like, how many subscribers does Scott the Woz have?
you personally are one of a group of maybe 10 or so people that I've met in person who know some of my stories better than I do. Because not only have you heard me tell the stories on multiple different podcasts, you've also listened to some of those podcasts more than once.
Yeah.
So there are people who've heard me tell the same story literally 10 plus times. And like, from my perspective, it might be that I like still remember the story, or maybe I don't, but like it could be that I told this story 10 times 10 years ago and like have stopped and don't remember, but people are still rewatching those videos and like
Yeah.
remember that stuff. And I'll bring up to you, or this happens with Bad Eater as well, where like I'll like get nostalgic and I'll start explaining something and you're like, yeah, I know, like I know this story, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like last time I got nostalgic and told this story was on a microphone. So
I remember when I first started talking to you and I was kind of worried that it would get annoying to do that. Like I was like, oh, I hope I don't seem like a stalker because I know so much about you. And then in a Discord chat one time, you said something about going to the Philippines or whatever, and I was like, oh, are you going to tell him the story about the Ben 10 statue? And you seemed happy. You were like, oh my god, yeah, the Ben 10 statue.
well, because I want to believe that people are retaining the shit that I'm saying, like, and there's so little. When you're just telling a story, and if somebody doesn't leave a comment specifically addressing what you said, I have no reason to think anyone heard it, And like, I know how little attention people are really paying to a lot of this stuff,
Yeah.
Like we're probably on in the background right now, like you might be literally watching the screen or you might be doing something else. There's different levels of how much attention you might pay, and like, so I'm never counting on anything I said to have been heard by anyone unless they individually confirm it to me. Like if you specifically can, communicate to me that you understood what I was saying, I believe that you understood. And even then, I don't expect people to remember the specifics, But every once in a while, someone will know a thing that I said, and what it means to me is, like, it's always interesting because it's never the same stuff, like you remember the Ben 10 story because you have some connection to Ben 10 and you probably had like a strong mental image of it when I told the story of like, oh, that's really funny, Ben 10 is on the same level as Batman. For anybody who doesn't know this story, at a Toys R Us in the Philippines, they had life-size statues of Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Ben 10. And like, just to
Shoulder
me,
to
that was
shoulder.
mind blowing because those three are like ancient heroes from my perspective. And then Ben 10 came out like, you know, when I was already too old to appreciate it. And here I am on the other side of the globe from where Ben 10 comes from, and it's like a way bigger deal than it even is here. You know, you don't see a Ben 10 statue in a fucking Toys R Us in the U.S. But it's one of the biggest shows over there. So, you know, it's a fun story because of all these different like cultural perspectives that it lends into. Like, oh wow, even in like totally, you know, what you would imagine when somebody says the Philippines and you don't know anything about it, you're just like, a culture I don't fathom, I know nothing about it. And it's like, oh, they have Ben 10 statues. Like, oh, I'd probably get along perfectly fine there then, you know, like.
It's such a random detail. Oh, like the most famous heroes around the world: Superman, Batman, and then Ben 10. Like, oh. I mean, I watched that when I was little. I don't. It's not really comparable, but sure.
I've also met a few times. I wish I could remember his name because it feels fucked up that I've met this dude and I have a total mental image of what he looks like. Cannot remember his name. And I've met him more than once.
Oh, Ben Tennyson, I think was.
No, it's just a YouTuber whose like whole thing is Ben 10. Like all he does is talk about like Ben 10 lore. He's like super into Ben 10, and pretty successful. But he was one of the guys at Too Many Games who like is always at Too Many Games. So I know I've hung out with him, but I can't remember his fucking name, which is sad. But it's because I don't watch his videos because they're all about Ben 10. I don't know fucking anything about Ben
What's your
10.
favorite show? It does not hold up, by the way. Anyone who's like,
I didn't like it at the time.
I
So.
remember that show. I want to rewatch Ben 10. I bet it's awesome. No. It's about
My
the
hot
most
take is that
annoying
Teen
show
Titans
ever.
doesn't hold up.
I mostly agree. There's a couple episodes I like still, but for the most part, Teen Titans is kind of mid.
I hate the music, and I hate the pacing. That's the biggest problem I have with Teen Titans, is that the music's really generic and repetitive, and every episode there's like basically like a little bit of setup where the characters, like, we're learning what their conflict is going to be, and then the overwhelming majority of the episode is just action, which when I was a kid was fucking awesome. But now I look back on the actions, like, it's really well animated, but it's not like conceptually interesting most of the time, you know, like it's just very comic book du jour. And I also think that everything that made it look special and cool at the time, well, later Ben 10 would do all of that, and later Justice League would do all of that, and later, you know, every other show that came out of DC would use some of those aesthetic ideas. So, you know, it felt way more advanced when it came out than it did 5 years later, you know.
Hold up, Z-Cypher. There's a Nickelodeon theme park. What? Tell me more.
We actually here have a place called King's Dominion that I think is owned by Six Flags, and they have a bunch of like Warner Brothers themed rides, like Scooby-Doo rides and stuff, and they also had like a Superman ride, at least when I was a kid, because that's the last time I've been there. But it was like all kinds of like cartoons and pop culture themed stuff there.
I think I went to a theme park that had Nickelodeon stuff when I was a kid. I think it was in Ohio. And they had like the character costumes like a Disney World. I just remember seeing like SpongeBob and the babies from Rugrats. Like a giant Tommy Pickles costume. Funny. Yeah, I don't
Thinking
know.
about it now, it's very strange because we have Busch Gardens here, which is a theme park where each section of the park is themed around a different country in England. But then there's like the kids section, and it's just the Sesame Street kids area. So it's like Europe, or rather England and France and Spain and Sesame Street.
Got me thinking about those old superhero cartoons I watched as a kid, and it made me remember that there's like a shit ton of superhero cartoons I grew up with. And despite being someone who loved comic book heroes growing up and still kind of likes them, A lot of those cartoons are kind of unwatchable, low key. I've tried rewatching most of them, and they are so fucking boring. It's tragic, truly. Like Justice League, Young Justice, Teen Titans, what was it, X-Men the animated series, the old one, X-Men Unlimited. I can't fucking stand any of these shows anymore. They're kind of booty.
I like the old X-Men show, but then again, it's been like 10 years since I watched what I did of it.
Yeah. Ben 10 was especially tragic 'cause I had all the toys and shit. It was such a phenomenal thing to me when I was a kid. And then I watch it again, and it's like, oh, Ben 10 is actually just the world's brattiest little shit. The most detestable child.
Yeah, I remember I was probably like 15 when Ben 10 came out, and for me it was just kind of like, well, it's literally a show about being 10, and I'm a little old for this, you know, like.
I was like a little young when it came out. I was like 8, but I was like, whatever, it's cool. And then there was a brief period of time where like I was 10 years old and Ben was 10 years old, and I was like, oh yeah, this is epic. And then around the time I turned 11, they came out with the sequel show where there was like a time skip, and Ben was suddenly 15 years old, and I was like, I can't relate to this anymore. I stopped watching. Like, it's boring, it's ugly, I don't like it. He got rid of all his old aliens, he just has new ones, and the new aliens are ugly, and the show is dark. It's all black, all the backgrounds are black voids, you can't see anything.
Yeah, it's such a weird aesthetic for that show.
I think, I might be wrong, but I think it was actually by mistake. I don't know where I heard this, but I heard somewhere that for Ben 10 Alien Force, the background art was accidentally made darker than it was supposed to be. So the show where Ben is voiced by Sasuke, that one has like fucked up background art that just looks like black voids. Some people are like, it adds to the atmosphere, and I'm like, it looks like booty hole.
See, Cypher said, my friends and I were obsessed with Teen Titans, but honestly, I only remember like 10 episodes, whereas I remember the whole plot of Avatar The Last Airbender. And yeah, that's another perfect example. Like, Teen Titans, when it came out, was the only American anime, you know, and then you get Avatar a few years later, and like, Avatar is another one where when it was coming out, I assumed it was like, because I probably was also like 15 when Avatar was coming out, but I just thought like, oh, it's probably a kid's show. It's Nickelodeon, whatever, you know, it's like cute, like baby anime. And then finally my friend Marcus, when I was probably like 19 or 20, was like, no, you have to watch Avatar. Like, you can't be, you know, you can't be walking around thinking what you're thinking. Like, this show is amazing. So I'm like, okay, fine. And yeah, it's really, I mean, I see it in the same exact way that I see Full Metal Alchemist or Eureka 7, which are all, in my opinion, like, if you're just talking about the traditional, like, Western ideal structure of a adventure fantasy, they're all perfect. You know, like, they're just like, we've got a strong core theme, core characters, you know, a big epic sprawling narrative that's got all this lore, and it all like makes kind of sense. And you know,
Exactly.
Airbender's one of the best at doing that, at doing just like the traditional epic really well.
Still
I guess it would be
an
Odyssey journey.
I still enjoy it quite a bit. I'd say it's. I think I said something to you recently that I think Avatar is technically the best Western cartoon that exists because of that. Like, we don't really have a comparable show to Avatar that's as perfect.
I mean, it just depends on what you think makes a story great. You know, like, to me, Avatar is significantly hampered by the fact that it is still a kid's show.
Yeah.
And so, and to me, the worst episode of all of Avatar is there's the one where they, like, literally have a war scene. They, like, storm the beaches. And it's just so bloodless and toothless that it's like, okay, like, you know, no one's dying. Like, this is war. Like, it's described as war, but like, they can't kill anybody. They cannot explicitly kill anybody, and it's very much just a sign of the times. You know, like Legend of Korra is like 1,000 times edgier by comparison, and it's like 5 years later. You know, but that's just how much the doors were opened up by like Adventure Time and all that stuff. Like, just pushing the envelope.
Yeah. I just mean like in terms of how good is like the story structure and everything, like in terms of like appeal and just what the show is trying to do. I think I find Avatar: The Last Airbender to be the most valuable of all the cartoons, because it is that like Lord of the Rings style epic, and there have been so many cartoons since then that have tried to do the same thing, and none of them are on quite that same level for me.
What would be the best example of another show that tried and failed to do Avatar?
I guess The Dragon Prince, though I haven't watched all of that. It was
Is
a
that
Netflix
an
show.
Anime?
It's animated. It's like CGI. Like it looks like a 3D anime, more or less. Just to say, I do not like how that looks. That low frame rate anime, it doesn't appeal to me. But
Okay, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'd never heard of this.
one of the voice actors from Avatar is actually in it. The one who voiced Sokka, I think. But yeah, I found out about it because of my brother, because he was pretty into it, and so I tried watching it, and I just could not get into it. It was just not like. I have a hard time with a lot of these cartoons. Or like there's other examples like She-Ra, the new She-Ra that was on Netflix like 10 years ago. Not really new, but like I tried watching some She-Ra, and I'm like, this show should appeal to me because it's like super fucking rainbow colored and queer, and it's like action packed or whatever. And I try watching it, and it's like there's the character who's like the shy nerdy one who's like, I just don't know about this. And there's the other characters like the comic relief, like at just everything. He's like, is this a wacky situation? Let me check. Yup, definitely wacky. Just that kind of vibe the whole time.
I couldn't even make it like 5 minutes into that. It just something felt off to me.
Yeah.
But like I'm picky about animation, you know, like I feel like with anime, the fact that there is so much of it means that the dice gets rolled so many times. It's almost inevitable it's gonna land on something I might like. But Western cartoons, it's like it has to be the greatest thing that's ever existed if it's gonna really break the mold.
I think for me it's just the difference in self-awareness or like cluing in the viewer, where all these Western cartoons have to be made with like babies in mind, so the characters have to be kind of over-explaining and trying a little too hard to be funny. Whereas I can just throw in an anime that's meant for like, 16-year-olds, and it's not talking down to me quite as much. It's more just like, I don't know, subtle? Not all of them are subtle, but it's easier to find subtlety in anime than in cartoons, I feel like. Gaming.
It seems crazy that Avatar hasn't been topped, but maybe it's just the kind of thing where it's like, why even try? Like, you're gonna look like an idiot.
And there's other shows that have like they've evolved the formula instead of just doing the same thing, like I loved the Owl House. It's very different. Of course, it starts out very like slice of life, and then it kind of evolves into being a little more story driven and like more dramatic. And that show just got better and better as it went on, and I really loved how it ended. It felt very like exciting, and the animation was fucking awesome. It just was a hugely satisfying conclusion all around. And it was like the first time in a long time I could remember a cartoon giving me that gratification of like, oh yes, this was good fucking art. Oh my god, I'm so glad I watched that. I want to watch it again.
I've been getting that feeling from Turn A Gundam, which I am of course going to recommend everybody watch because I'm doing an episodic analysis of it.
Yes.
And have you seen any of this yet, Corona?
Not yet. Said I've been pretty scatterbrained.
It's a big recommend. Everybody watch Turn A Gundam. It's on YouTube. And also my show is on YouTube on Nova's Anime Blog. I'm 6 episodes in to my coverage now, releasing every Thursday. Members first for $2.
It's been that long already. 6.
Yep. It's, how do I put it? It's a hard show to describe in brief, so I won't try. I'll just say that everybody should watch it and check out my videos, which will probably... I think it would probably be a good idea to watch each episode and then watch my video on it and then move, going back and forth rather than trying to... Because that is kind of the way it's being written. It's from my perspective of never having seen the entire show before, and I didn't watch the whole thing and then go in. It's like I'm discovering it along with the audience, and some of the commenters are people who've seen it before, but they're being very gracious about how they discuss it, so it's been fun. I do a lot of comment response in each episode. But the show has a very, very unique atmosphere, and I wouldn't compare it to something like Avatar, because it's not really an adventure, but it's got everything you would want from a premium show experience, if that makes sense. It looks and feels as good as anime from its era can. It's from the year 2000, so it's just got that oh yeah, this is that high quality shit, It's that feeling when you're watching it. Director, writer Yoshiyuki Tomino said it would be popular in 50 years at the time. So far it's been half of that, so...
Oh, that was gonna be my next question, is how old is this show? Because I don't know nothing about no Gundams.
Yeah, it aired in 2000 and into 2001, I think.
I'm watching so many fucking shows lately. There's too many shows coming out lately.
What's great about Turn A Gundam is you don't need to know a goddamn thing about Gundam to watch it at all.
Good. So that's the way I like it.
I honestly believe that because it's created by the guy who created the original Gundam, I think it was his attempt to make if you're gonna watch just one, watch this one. It's kind of how he was approaching it. What if I did all my best ideas, and it's still Gundam and it's still technically connected to the rest of the main Gundam storyline, except that it's 12,000 years in the future. So, nothing that happened is particularly relevant at this point in the story.
I often have a feeling with franchises like sprawling, dorky franchises like that, where I'm I want to turn it into a project. If I was I'm gonna get into Gundam, I would want to start with the first show and watch them all in release order. Just
not a bad way to do it either.
Yeah, to form my own opinions and really get the vibe. Especially with big sprawling things like that, where there's so many different versions of the same thing, different sequels and stuff. I really I already don't trust opinions of strangers on the internet. They're not worth shit. No one knows what I'm going to like and not like. Whatever is the popular opinion is not usually how I think, because I am not a popular person. I have a generally niche worldview. I enjoy weird things sometimes. So, I always find the most fun way to engage with stuff like that is to just figure it out for yourself. Just fuck around and find out. Which is why I watched every single Godzilla movie. That makes it even more gratifying.
You've seen all of them? That's so many.
It's I think coming on 40 movies now, but yeah, I watched all of them in a row in 2019, and I've watched all the ones that came out since. And yeah, it makes it extra gratifying too when you hear, when you're okay, I lived in my little bubble for a month and I watched all those movies. Now I get to find out what the other fans think of them.
Right.
And then when you find people
how wrong
who
is
have,
everybody else about these fucking movies?
That's the best part, is when you find the ones who thought the exact same things you thought while watching it, and you're oh, my bros.
Yeah. For sure.
This one gets it, and someone's oh my god, the part in Godzilla versus Megalon where he does the jump kick and his tail drags along the ground, and then he does it a second time after throwing up a peace sign.
Let's
and I'm
go.
It's peak, it's fucking peak, and you know it!
Yep.
This fucking feeling.
Megalon is the fucking best.
The movie's hilarious.
I watched the shit out of that as a kid.
Yes. You get it.
Um,
That's what I'm talking about. that fucking that high that you just felt that I implanted in your brain just now. That's what it's all about. That's what I'm chasing.
Sleepo said, I gotta get on the Turn A Gundam train. Got autistic about not liking how the YouTube captions looked and never got back to it. Just download it. I was watching it on YouTube at first because it's convenient, but then of course as soon as I started actually making a video series about it, I just downloaded it.
Remember,
Blu-ray
kids,
rips.
torrenting anime is always ethical.
That is true. It's actually unethical to purchase anime, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's more correct.
But yeah, Turn A Gun. I mean, you're not gonna benefit anybody who made Turn A Gundam by like purchasing it in 2025. I don't think. Tomino's fine. Yoko Kanno's fine. The rest, I'm sure they're fine.
So when it comes to piracy, I am definitely.
Oh, wait, that's the other thing about Turn A Gundam, by the way. Yoko Kanno soundtrack. I assume that name means something to you, maybe.
I forgot. Brain melting.
It's like you just told me you forgot who Jesus was, and I was like a devout Christian.
You mean Jesus?
Yoko Kanno's the soundtrack composer of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, of course. How could I? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I haven't
And
watched Cowboy Bebop in a very long time.
Me neither. But I do kind of worship Yoko Kanno as like a personal deity. Because that soundtrack meant so much to me in my teens. And she also did the Arjuna soundtrack, which is fucking fantastic, and a lot of other good stuff. Escaflowne, just a good banger.
What the fuck was I was gonna totally switch topics a moment ago and I forgot what it was now.
In Japan, what Yoko Kanno would probably best be known for is she did like a really sappy, like emotional relief fund post Tohoku earthquake. Like she made like what was like the national healing song of the Tohoku disaster. I assume we all remember this. 2011, when Japan had like its worst disaster. It's 9/11. It's 3/11, as it were.
I'm pretty sure I was in middle school when that happened, but I do vaguely remember that.
It was a huge disaster because basically an earthquake caused a tidal wave that caused a nuclear reactor meltdown, and it just led to a massive amount of catastrophe that is still being repaired to this day.
I think I vaguely recall reading about it on the school computers in my computer lab class in like 7th or 8th grade. That was the same class where I played Minecraft and Roblox for the first time.
I will always remember it for specifically delaying the last episode of Madoka Magica by about a month.
Evil! How could you do this to me, Japan? Look, it's the funny little aliens from Super Metroid. They're here. They have a little habitat. They got tire swings. Isn't that cute? Those are the ones that taught me how to wall jump. Those little fuckers.
Good dudes. I love how peaceful that screen is compared to the rest of the game.
Yeah. They're friends.
Like a big open sky.
I love that the mission there was literally just, oh, there's signs of life. Go check on it. And it's little animal buddies. The computer's like, well, that's worthless.
Music's also really fucking good in this game.
Yeah. I think the music in this one sounds a lot better than Zero Mission. What the fuck?
Yeah, they probably built like the songs out of what would sound good on a GBA as opposed to like adapting it to the sound chip.
I thought I already did the thing. Why is he not giving me? I just looked. I just. Okay. What the fuck? I just did that. Want me to do it again?
Crystalline posted. Oh, I already read that. Never mind. Gotta get on the Turn A Gundam train. Everybody get on the Turn A train. You'll go turn A, turn, turn A, turn, turn A. 'Cause that's how the opening thing goes.
Anime.
And then a voice comes in that goes, Turn A Gundam.
What the fuck?
There it is.
They have like a
I'm telling
Cockney
you,
British
it'll warp
accent.
your mind. It's a show it'll really warp your mind. It's got trans themes also. That's important. That's probably pretty much why I'm talking about it.
Very gay, very homo.
You know I was not going to talk about an anime that had no trans themes in the year of our Lord 2025. In that regard, I would recommend there's a YouTuber called Pyramid Inu who does really great anime analysis and especially of mecha anime. And she talked about the themes of identity as presented in Turn A Gundam in a video called like What is Turn A saying about identity anyways? It's a really good video. And it inspired me to go back and check the show out again and be like, I gotta give this a second look. Because I was a little too young to really understand what the fuck was going on in it when I watched it the first time.
I don't watch anime. I watch Japanimation.
Whoa! With the samurai swords and the boobies.
Japanimation.
If I don't see at least 3 tits, it's not a real anime.
I have to finish my full rewatch of Dragon Ball Z on VHS. Can somebody loan me $500 so that I can purchase a copy of the Cell Games Saga on VHS? I cannot continue watching the show until someone gives me $500 to spend on videotapes.
I've
Emergency.
noticed this trend, and I know it's always been around, but it really cracks me up that this is still happening, of people making videos that are like, this game you can't play, this manga you can't read, and it's just like not through official channels. It's like, okay, so what you mean is I can read it right now, like instantaneously.
But it's illegal.
I
It's
saw one
illegal.
from you know, our good old boy Arcada, Glass Reflection.
Yo, legend.
You what was the line from the Motogatari review that you always quote?
You mean in the Kill la Kill video?
Oh, is that the one? Yeah.
Talking about Mako. He says she even gets a badass moment of awesome.
Oh yeah, badass moment of awesome. That was the one.
Yeah.
Well, he's always been very much a like you have to buy it physically, like to watch it type of a person, and like none of the years have changed this. Nothing's broken his stance. He's been the whole time a good boy. He buys his anime before he watches it, and that used to be a lot more like in anime discussions online. You used to not, at the very least, talk about the fact that you downloaded your anime. Like, you might hint at it or be like a little tongue-in-cheek about it, but it was generally considered gauche to admit. But then by the time of YouTube, you know, like, it's so commonplace that it just seems laughable, like, to not, like, especially because there's so much you can't access without piracy, you know, especially as an anime fan. And it gets to a point where it's like, well, it's really hard to have any kind of understanding of anime history if you're not willing to consume pirated media, you know. The funny thing is, I kept thinking you had to blow up that wall, and was like, I wonder why she isn't trying to blow up that wall. You could just walk into it.
Listening to words,
ludicrous.
talk, and thinking about words, things that you're saying, and things I want to say in response to it, and I couldn't focus on a wall.
But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying that I think I'm distracted by the cute animals getting let out now.
You made me
This is the most
remember
important.
something I wanted to say a while ago.
All right, you go first.
On the subject of piracy, I wanted to say, when it comes to piracy, I feel very strongly like antis of piracy. Like anyone who is like, you should not pirate stuff. I'm just like, you're a clown, you're stupid, you're
Yeah.
ethically and on every level you are wrong, and fuck you.
Yeah.
Just being like, it is unethical you are stealing, and that is not okay. It makes me
Some
think of that
people are
fucking
just
meme
like
of like the chunky guy holding a katana and saying, "Leave alone the multi-billion-dollar company." It's that kind of shit.
Eticoons and Decoras, I guess is what those guys are called.
Especially
they're
with the
intelligent.
economy we have now, or like all the media that's on streaming services, you can't fucking buy them, and the
Yeah.
prices go up every day, and there's a million of them, and they're constantly merging and monopolizing, and they're fucking evil anyway. Even if they weren't evil, it's so
Well, and, like,
inconvenient
okay,
that piracy
so-
is just the right thing to do. It's
I understand on the front of like I don't think it is moral to consume the media through piracy because you could just simply not consume it. And frankly, it's not really moral to consume media at all.
Yeah.
Most of it not good for your brain, not really doing something for you. So like if I understand from the sense of considering it entitled to pirate media. And it is entitled, but it's also just smart. Like, it's like from an adaptive standpoint, like you as a human being need a certain amount of information that you're just not going to get through only using official channels. Like, I'm not saying you have to brag about it. In fact, you shouldn't really be loud about committing crimes, but at the same time,
yeah.
everyone's doing it because it's smart and it shouldn't be a crime. And that's the only way you make something not a crime. Like, the reason that alcohol is legal is that it was such a problem making it illegal that it's like, well, are you gonna arrest everybody? No, you have to change the fucking law, and I think we're getting closer to that with copyright.
Yeah.
But,
That's the funny thing too is like people talk about like, oh, you shouldn't pirate, it's against the law, and it's like, okay, it's like
Not all laws.
Yeah, setting aside the fact that if your sense of morality is based on what the law says, like you're a fucking idiot anyway, and your morals are horrible. Setting that aside, I'm not convinced that it's actually illegal. I don't know a single case of someone like torrenting movies and then going to jail or whatever. I've never heard of such a thing.
They've gotten sued for lots of money, and people have gone to jail.
For real?
Oh yeah.
Just for like torrenting a movie.
Funimation has sued individual people plenty of times for downloading like One Piece.
What the fuck?
Usually they go after the seeders though, and they tried at one point. Funimation attempted to file a class action lawsuit against the 1,500 people who had downloaded one episode of One Piece, and they, of course, found out this was not possible. The corporations have been trying to murder everyone over this shit for a long time. And that's why we come out so heavily about it. It's like, legitimately, yeah, you can get in big trouble. And lots of people just get their ISPs turned off. Like, if your internet service provider ever sends you a warning, that used to happen to a bunch of my friends back in the day. They could just shut off your internet service because they think you're doing illegal stuff on it.
I remember that being a thing. That happened one time at my dad's house. It was because I decided to just torrent a couple movies back then, and it was like we got the warning email. It was like, delete this off your computer, and that was just fucking comical to me. I was like a teenager, and I had downloaded. So it was Kung Fu Panda 2. That's what the email was about. It's just Kung Fu Panda 2 specifically. It's like, you must delete this file from your computer. I had all three of them. I don't know why Kung Fu Panda 2 specifically set off the triggered the alarms. Fucking goofy shit. But yeah, that still cracks me up to this day. I was like, I had my friends telling me you should put that in your dating profile. Just like I got in trouble with Comcast for downloading Kung Fu Panda 2. It's like my key character trait.
I can't help but notice there's a giant demon lurking in the background of each screen that you've crossed through.
Oh, it's fine. That's been there. It's just part of
Um,
this whole sector.
I think we should wrap this stream soon just because my back is starting to hurt and I'm getting
Yes.
worried.
Yes, of course. I'm getting a little tired myself.
Data.
We'll get to a stopping point and wrap this up.
Oh, you got the power bomb.
Power bomb. How epic.
Urban.
Why'd I go this way?
Remember when people used to say Eben?
No.
You don't? Maybe it's gone. Maybe it was. There was a brief period of internet slang where instead of epic, you might say Eben.
What the fuck?
Circa like 2013 or so.
What the heck is saying that?
I remember Munchie saying it,
What the
and
fuck?
and some other people his age at the time. But it's probably disappeared because people don't say epic anymore, so there's no need for a even more corrupted version of it.
Epic win.
But in my head, it's now turned Eben into part of even flow, but it's ebb and flow. So ebb and flow, because you know, it's like ebb and flow, but it's actually eben, like the epic slang term.
That was what I immediately thought when you said Eben. It's like ebb and flow? What else could that mean? I don't understand.
Ebb and flow.
I remember when I was a kid, when the word epic first became, you know, like a big meme, a big thing that was in
Yeah.
circulation. And my thing, because I was such a quirky little child, my thing was that, you know, if something was really epic, I would call it total epicity.
Oh my
It's
god,
reached-
total epic.
It has reached absolute epic. It is total epicity.
That is, in fact, total epic.
It's extremely autistic.
Wow.
The most autistic word.
That's like top epicism. That's epatic. Like epoch level epatic.
It is quite. It's a bit rafflecopter if I do say so myself. Fucking random. I'm so random. Remember everyone was saying the word random at the same time.
I
Everything was
heavily
random.
associate that whole thing with the what's it called, Squeeze, the Johnny the Homicidal Maniac character.
Yeah.
Like and the thing, what was it from Invader Zim had one too, but just like a creature that just like says shit, and like all the kids I knew who acted that way were like the Invader Zim fan, like goth kids at school who, so I always associated that like lol so random with that.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac rules. I'm being pursued. No, not anymore. Short-lived. I walked through a door. Ex-parasite doesn't know how doors work. It's kind of like the aliens in the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs, where he like one of them locks an alien in his pantry.
Mm.
And the alien's just like, shit, can't get out.
You literally just throw a cup of water on it to kill it.
Yes, it's peak cinema. Say what you will about Signs, but that scene with the birthday party is still fucking terrifying.
Yeah, when it just like walks across the screen.
Yeah, it's that
I
little,
very distinctly remember being like, "Oh shit!"
the little musical note that goes dun. That's just the alien walks by. It's all blurry as shit. It goes dun, and you're just like. That was like the first scary movie I ever watched, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like, yeah, that's one of the first like scary like movies that was like scary but not too scary for me to watch.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I remember that scene being like by far the peak of the film, and then
Yeah. That fucking movie, the music still gives me goosebumps. It has this weird rhythm to it. It's like something about it just gets me. Also, I remember seeing it for the first time on a DVD. My parents had it on DVD, and I remember vividly the main menu of it was fucking creepy to me. Because the menu was just an image of the baby monitor on the table, and you could vaguely hear the aliens like talking with their like clicky mouths through like static and shit on the baby monitor.
Creepy.
Creepy as shit.
C Cypher said Gur. Yes, that's the one. That's
I have a Gur
the
hoodie.
guy. All right, let's wrap it up. Let's get to the gone.
Yeah.
My back hurt.
Yeah, alright, I just saved. It's fine. We can wrap it up here. Maybe next time I will show off my Gur hoodie. That'd be funny.
We'll be finishing Fusion on the next one.
Yes. We can probably finish this game in the next one, right? It's not that long.
Yeah,
It's not that long of a game.
gotta be at least halfway through.
It's a Game Boy.
You gotta get the power bombs.
It's a Game Boy, not a Game Man. It's not that big.
All right, everybody. Bye.